following is an interview with the founder and maker of OD Guitars, this one that I'm holding here. I think you'll find that his story is really unique and that his dedication and his ideas behind the craftsmanship are really something special. I will have a full demo and review of this guitar posted next week, so if you're not already a subscriber, make sure you do that and hit all the notifications and all that so you don't miss it. Just tell me how you got started doing this. What's the origin of the company?
I started playing guitar when I was, I think, 15 years old, but I still remember the first time I saw an electric guitar. It was when I was, I don't know, 10 or so. It was a red Fender, like in the window of a shop, just like in the Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Scene. And I wanted it so badly. I never got it. But eventually I got like this shitty Squire Sunburst kind of thing. And then later on, when I started to invest in myself a little bit more, I got was it Jackson PS2, I think they call, like from the old stuff. And I really wanted an ESP, so Jackson was like second best.
Right.
I could get it. Eventually I got the ESP Horizon, but that was like 20 years later.
Right.
And then down the road, I used to, I got a lot of hobbies, as you can see behind me, the Lego and flying RC planes and building them. So it all got somehow connected eventually to finding my way in life to learn industrial design. So this was even before I thought about building guitars, but I was playing and I was still building stuff. And I decided to go with the route of industrial design, product design. And I studied that for 4 years and then worked in this field for about 7 years. This is fast forward to 34, I think. Yeah, I was 34, maybe even younger. And at some point, while I was working in this field of industrial design for about 7 years, I got tired. I felt like I'm sitting just in front of the computer, designing more crap the world doesn't need, more plastic products. And I felt like I need to bring this into play again.
Right.
And at that time, I had about 11 guitars, so not as much as yours, but I had quite a nice collection, and I decided to give it a shot and build my own. And I ordered this shitty kit online, just something I found. Like I said, all right, I don't have the tools in order to build a guitar neck and put the frets in and everything. So I'm going to buy like a kit with already made neck. And the body was like pre-cutted, but I could still manipulate a little bit and try some stuff on it. And I had a 3D printer at home.
Yeah.
Made of wood. It was one of the first ones.
Wow.
In Israel, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was laser cut and everything. It was literally a machine that builds itself or something like that.
Right.
And the quality was shitty, but it does the what I needed. And I started messing around with this guitar and printed stuff and put it inside the top and the headstock. Like, it was just the planting the seeds of the NG chambering. And for those of you who see this video and doesn't know about the NG cavities, these are the weird triangular cavities that I got on my guitars today.
Right. And what was the idea? Did it just come to you, or did you, just to be unique? Okay, what led to that?
Yeah, it was two things, two reasons that got me into it. One was me not be able to purchase nice top, like really exotic tops in Israel, or like stuff you can work with.
Right.
And the guitar arrived with its own top, so it was out of the question to replace it. And that led me into thinking, what can I do in order to manipulate the guitar, the top of the guitar, or the surface of the guitar, so it'd be more interesting. The other thing was something that I've been working on ever since I was an industrial designer, even a little bit before, was like drawing it, sketching it. And that was the aesthetics that you get from nature, like the geometrical, mathematical shapes that you can see under a microscope on leaves and living organism, like that comes from nature.
Right.
It's just fascinating for me, like for ages.
Right.
And it even I even did something with it when I did my final project for the for school, for industrial design school. It was, since I'm a designer and I'm design stuff from plastic, from, I don't know, like a Dremel tool or just whatever. Not sponsoring anything here. Yeah, so designing this stuff, it's cold, it's alienated, it's made of plastic, and we got a ton of it in the world. And I wanted to bring somehow the nature that we tend to forget, which is outside the window, inside to our home. So that story, I designed like a computer that you hang from the ceiling, and it's filled with these plants that covers everything.
Right.
But when the times goes by, and the computer was designed with even with this NG chambering for venting the CPU and everything.
Right.
And when you water it, nothing from it was real. Of course, it was just a concept idea, but that's how it goes in industrial design school. When you do that, you go overboard with everything,
right?
Even if you can't make it eventually.
Right,
but
right.
I don't believe in that thing that you cannot make it. It's just you didn't solve it yet.
Right.
So with this computer, when you water it, it cools down the components and make the plant grow and brings the nature back to something that is really cold and alienated, like computer. Right. And eventually, what got me into building guitars is sitting in front of the computer, my boring box under the table, and the rectangular you look at it.
And what year was that?
Was when I started the business, or
the guitar building?
So 2015, and I'll tell you a funny story about it. When I decided to do it, then I went to my wife, and we were married about, I don't know, 2 years, I think. She will kill me. 2 years, and I went to my wife and I told her I want to start a company that like building custom guitars, and she went like, "Yeah, let's do it." And that was like just metaphorically seconds after we decided to have a child.
Yeah.
So if you don't really get it, that means I'm cutting my daily job, the payments and everything, and starting something that is nuts and everyone tells you not to do.
Yep.
So she said, "Yeah, it's going to be good."
Yeah.
And that was my first sign. And then I asked her mother. And she said, because I used to trust a lot of the things. Her mother is not alive anymore, but she was a really smart woman. And she knew exactly what to say in the right time.
Yeah.
And she said, "Go for it."
That's great.
And it's like, yeah, I was, and then I went to my parents, and they said, "Yeah, do it." And then I said, "Are you nuts? I mean, why nobody stops me? That's crazy." And then, well, everyone said yes and was counting on me to succeed.
Yeah.
So I went, Yeah, what the hell? Let's try it.
So from
And then,
that first year, those first guitars to now, it's
yeah,
10 years later. How much would you say you've learned? How different are those first guitars from what you make now?
oh man, very different. I mean, the basic design was quite, I mean, the idea was quite good and shaped from the beginning.
Mhm.
I didn't quit my job until I had my first designs that I'm sure I'm going to put out.
Mhm.
And I built, I worked at night. I built my website. I built some, like the business plan. I built um, the renderings for the model that I'm going to offer was 2 models, I think. So I planned everything, and at the moment that I felt I'm ready, then I told my bosses that I'm quitting to start this other thing, and of course they left.
Yeah,
But they said good luck, and I was on my way selling every guitar I owned in
yeah,
order to finance it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
and
did you have to at any point kind of reverse engineer from other guitars and pick things that you liked and look at things that didn't work? Was there any of that kind of
okay,
figuring it
so
out?
yeah, but I can say I was pretty lucky because at the time I met this guy in Israel who was building guitars for the past 50 years.
Mm,
And he is originally from Russia, and he used to build tons of guitars and every instrument under the sun that has strings, from cellos,
wow. Okay.
violins, bass guitars, acoustic guitars, everything, even wind up pickups on his own.
Mm,
So I'm talking like back in the, I don't know, 60s or so, he used to make a lot of stuff by his own because he couldn't get it
right. Right.
otherwise. So this company with this guy, they asked me if I can make some plans for their CNC machine. So I told them, well, I don't know how to operate a CNC machine, but I can definitely make files for it, like 3D files, because that's my major.
Mm,
And yeah, we can work it out. And then I told them that I'm quitting my job and opening a guitar company. And they said, don't do it. There's no money in it. We've been doing it for 50 years.
yeah.
And then I said, well, I got to take the shot and, try it for myself. I got a plan. I'm young. I believe in myself. I'm stupid. Now is the
And
time.
now in 2025, do you
Yeah.
have many employees? How many guitars are you selling per year about now?
So, yeah. So now in 25, I got one intern. My
Mm,
wife is running the business in terms of answering emails, doing all the customer support, all the illustrations that we send to customers prior to the build when it starts. When you order a guitar, then it will start by us asking you about the type of music you play, the
mm,
type of music you like to listen, your favorite guitar in your collection, or whatever you tried and you liked. And then based on that, we'll suggest some different specs, or if you chose the right specs for you, then we'll tell you, well,
oh, I
I
like
would
that.
change this kind of wood. I would change this to different type of pickups according to what you told me. And then they get to pick the top from the library that my wife arranges.
Mhm.
I a little bit I got diverted from what you asked me, but I'm going to be back at it.
It's okay.
and then um, and then the customer can pick the specific top, and then Tali, my wife, would make an illustration based on it, and you get an illustration prior to the build. And once I start the build, I will share the photos with you, and you will see the guitar comes to life. So, having said that, so I got my wife as a manager, and an intern that likes to come about 2 or 3 days a week. Um, and that's it.
Okay.
It's all me. And we make about, I'd say we, but it's me and my wife, make about 40 to 45 a year.
Okay.
Guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot for two people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say, like I said before, we started recording, the one that I have over there is the most pleasant guitar to play. It's right up there with my original PRS. It's out of this giant collection. I couldn't believe how easy it is to play. So like, I'm blown away, and I love the organic kind of approach of how you're building with people. It kind of ties in with your thoughts about everything being kind of organic, where you communicate back and forth, and you ask about what style people are playing. That's amazing. I don't know of anyone doing that.
Yeah, that was a turning point where when I designed product for companies in the industrial design kind of field. It was really like designing a product and putting it out there without even knowing if it's successful, unless I see it on the shelves, which is a little pride, but there's no real communication with the customer, with the end user. There's no real emotions there. And this was something that I remember that I wanted to have as a really an important part of my company as a guitar builder. It's not that I don't build any stock guitars to just sell like that.
Right.
Even when I work with dealers, then we spec it out and we spec the guitars out according to their like the target audience they have at the shop. So we try to like nail the right specs and things that will sell for them. And with direct customers, that's the best experience I'm having, because after 10 years, I can say, and 300 guitars under my hands, I can say I remember about 90% of the customers, and we're still in touch. And it's never you pay me, you get a guitar, and see ya.
Right.
It's never this. It's always, we have a lot of returning customers. We have customers who sold all of the guitars and bought only OD. We have customers that we get to meet at NAMM. And every year it's like, I'm calling it a huge, expensive gathering.
Yeah.
It's not about guitars anymore. It's about meeting my friends overseas.
That's great.
Customers overseas that wants to meet me.
Tell me about that. I know you have a new model coming out and you got some plans for the next NAMM show. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So we just launched the Bia model, which is all of the models are based on Greek goddess, just because I'm fascinated with Greek mythology a little bit. And So the new model is, I had a model at the website, which at the beginning of OD guitars was supposed to be like the kind of the cheap model by OD that you can get if you cannot spend that much cash on a custom guitar. Eventually, and it was like, this was a suggestion from someone who runs a company, but not a guitar company, just big brands. He said, this will be your bread and butter. And I kept fighting and I said, no, I don't want to do it. And he said, trust me, you got to do it. You got to do it. And eventually I designed like a simple model that you can get for lower price. And guess what? Never sold. I mean, I sold about 5 of them or so. Yeah, because eventually, for me and for the customer, if you're already getting a custom guitar, you're getting a custom guitar. You don't just get an off-the-shelf something from a builder.
Right.
It's pointless. So I decided to ditch that model. Took a while for me to say goodbye, because it's hard to say goodbye to something you design.
Sure.
And then I decided I wanted something new. I mean, after 9-10 years in the business, I wanted to design something new, just to keep fresh and feel like I'm doing something a little bit new for myself. So every guitar starts from what I wish I had on my wall right now.
Yeah.
What I wish I had in my hand right now. And now is a special time because we just moved into a place where in the middle of our town, it's a kibbutz, if you know the term, we have a local brewery which has open mic nights. Yeah, so I started going there and play every Saturday night, and now, and I haven't done that for a long time, so it's pretty cool because I get to feel more this energy and get to field my guitars and decide on stuff I would like next to do. So it's keep evolving, and it's in the end of the day, it's not. I'm not designing something that I would. It's funny because every time I design something, I said, my wife, she hears me say, "What do I keep doing it to myself? It's hard to manufacture. it's almost impossible to manufacture. I need to think of new ways to make it more maybe profitable for me and reasonable to make." But when I never think that way. I always think about. I don't think. I just design, and then at the end, you look at it and you say, "All right, so now I need to make it reality. How do I do that?"
Right. So, back to the philosophy from school.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's not for nothing. I think it's a good practice because we actually have 3 schools for industrial design, the main schools. One is very technical and prepares you really good for the real life. So imagination there is kind of low key and it's not like you hear me say, "Let's do something, then figure it out."
Right.
It's let's think about the technology, think what we can do, and then design around it. And there's another school which is let's design something that no one can make, almost an art. And there's the third school where I studied, which is kind of both.
Right. So what is, if you can share a story, has there been a custom design that was just really crazy, difficult to do? The requests were out there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it wasn't like a request from a customer. It was last year. NAM last year was last year. Yeah, I think it was last year. 24. Yeah. I submitted an art piece for the NAM show, for the Boutique Guitar Showcase. And when you submit an art piece, it means that you can go wild, go with whatever you want. It doesn't even have to play at the end. But I don't like things that doesn't work. So it did play. But the concept was to, and it was just a time where AI got into our life really strong, and people used Midjourney in order to create some images. And I said, all right, well, there are the people who says AI will steal my job and will make everything on his own, and I'm going to be dead. And there's the people who saying, well, I got this machine now and this software, and I can harvest this technology into my world and try to use it. And I'm on this side. So I started like just playing around with Midjourney, and I at the beginning tried to figure out if Midjourney can tell what's an OD guitar. And of course, nothing came out. It's like it was a mess. It was just like a PRS Gibson style Fender with too many strings, too many knobs, too many everything.
I've done that.
It was just fun.
Yep.
Yeah. and then and then I started playing around with give like the prompt of it and write it down, like the chambering and the natural geometric, and combine that with nature, combine it with 6-string guitar, with a heavy metal guitar, and it evolved,
Right.
as you probably know. And I made like hundreds of them, and eventually I got into a point where I said, this is quite interesting, and it's impossible to make. I like that.
So you're going to make it.
Exactly. So the theory was, all right, so I have a nice image of something imaginary. Now, the challenge will be, can I make it a real thing? Like playable guitar with everything that you can see on the image.
Right.
And it's a 2D image. I need to figure out what the sides looks like, the back and everything. And there I started to just sculpture out of wood by hand. No CNC machine. I mean, CNC machine helped a little bit with some parts, but eventually I ended up with a really cool piece for NAMM, and we presented it and sold it.
Right.
And it was freaking amazing.
Awesome.
It was
So,
pretty cool.
Last question.
Yeah.
When you're building the guitars, are there certain things that are common to every guitar? I know, like, for instance, a guy like Paul Reed Smith, you mentioned Paul Reed Smith, talks about the connection points of the strings and optimizing that for the maximum sustain, different things like that you're always looking for to get the best quality.
Yeah, of course. Well, there are certain things like, for me, the neck construction is the most important in the guitar. And there's a long debate about, does wood affect the tone of the electric guitar? Does it only the pickups? And for me, that's like a car. You have the chassis and you have the engine. The engine is the pickups, the chassis is the wood. And if you take an engine for, let's say, Lamborghini, and you put it in a chassis of Subaru,
yeah,
it won't run like a Lamborghini.
Right.
It will probably disassemble the frame or something.
Right.
And for me, if you don't have a good chassis, doesn't matter how well the pickups are, you end up getting a crappy guitar.
Right.
And vice versa. So for me, 70% of the tone would be in the neck, and the rest in the pickups and in the body, divided. And when I said neck, I mean the fretboard and the neck pieces.
Right.
And then there's certain things that I won't do in terms of constructions and sound, like one-piece neck. A one-piece neck is sorry, but an industry lie. It's easy to make. It saves money, saves costs. It's made out of one piece of wood. You don't have to cut much. You don't have to glue anything. You just make it. However, when you get a one-piece neck and the grain orientation is not good, or you have like an eye in the middle or whatever, then the neck is not coherent. It's not. If it want to twist, it will twist, and then you're doomed. If you want to have the same characteristic for the high notes and the low notes, and it will be different because one piece of neck is not. It's not metal. It's not plastic. It's not uniform.
Right.
It's got all sorts of things in the middle. So what I do is take one slab of wood and then cut it in the middle and flip match it. So you get two pieces with opposite grain directions. So yeah, for me, no one pieces, even for the body. For the fretboard, I use only stiff material, so no, you won't see me using like soft material like poplar for fretboard, and I don't think anyone does that. That would be just stupid. It's too soft. Up until this year, I wouldn't agree to do stainless steel frets. And that's because I really hate the sound of stainless steel. It makes this sharp, really sharp tone when you pluck a string. And for me, the advantages of the stainless steel, which doesn't wear for 20 years, doesn't overcome the tonal quality that has with nickel silver, which lasts for 10 years or so.
Right.
I mean, my guitars are already 10 years with the frets and nothing. I mean, there's nowhere that you can say I need to replace them or maybe level them at best. But it just doesn't worth the losing the tone quality. So this year I decided to start with stainless steel, but just because I realized some players are playing harder than I do. Some players are can't tell the difference or does not care about the difference. So I'm willing to go with stainless steel.
Right. Yeah, and some people play to that tone.
Yeah. However, it's not my personal preference.
Right. I know I said last question, but you made me think of something with what you were saying. Do you have a preference? Is there a brand of pickups that you, for your own personal taste, like the best?
Yeah. I work with bare knuckles way from the beginning. I mean, I tried Seymour Duncan's. I tried all sorts of other pickups, but with bare knuckle, I feel like I feel a connection because they're bigger than I am, but it's the same people as that works there, has the same state of mind like I do. I mean, it's really personal. I really know everyone's there. Tim, the owner, owns 2 OD already. He ordered for me 2 ODs in the middle of the road, like not from the beginning. And they have a lot of models in the website, which covers almost everything. My favorite are usually I don't go for signature sound, signature guitar, signature sound. I don't care for this kind of stuff. I care for my own personal taste in sound. But I really like the silos from Rabia. I think they just nailed something really good, precise in these pickups. And I got 3 ODs at home.
Yeah.
And one of them has a silo. It's the best one.
I'm going to have to try that. I'm a huge fan of the bare knuckle pickups myself too. Once I had the first set I got was in a Skirvison guitar, and I couldn't believe how good they sounded. The guitar I have from you has the Aftermath pickups in it, and I've got another one with Polymath pickups in it, and just, yeah, I love them. So I'm going to have to.
Yeah, Polymath would be the second choice for me. The Aftermath is kind of on the low side for me because I like to have the chance to check really hard.
Right.
So, and I like to play like blues and progressive stuff, open chords, clean stuff. So silo really takes everything and makes it versatile enough for me to have that.
Right. Well, great. Thank you so much for coming on and doing an interview. I appreciate it. Like I said, I love your guitar, so I hope this leads to some sales.